Hello everyone, I'm Bubble Boy and welcome to the Playful Pond! We're back in the survival world today and planning to build an iron farm. But before we get into that, we're going to finish trading up all of our villagers. We are pretty close to getting the diamond pickaxe from our toolsmith, so let's finish that off so we can get all our tools. Now that we've unlocked the pickaxe, let's go buy ourselves one. Now that we have our pickaxe, it's time to head over to the village. I've placed down some boats so as hopefully the villagers find their ways into them. And now it's time to start taking down all the buildings. We have now taken down the village and all of the villagers appear to have found their way into the boats, along with a pig. I put a fence around the villagers as well as a few beds within there to keep them safe and try and breed them up. So as we have a few villagers to fill up the iron farm, as I was planning to build a few of the iron farm designs from wattles. I loaded the villagers up with the carrots I had to hopefully start the breeding process, and then I went to go fetch some more food for them as well as craft a few more beds. Once the villagers had their fill, I went to terraforming the area a little to make building the iron farm easier while I waited on the villagers breeding. We already had a couple of babies when I came back to check on the villagers. The villagers also appear to have spawned in an iron golem, so I took him down for the iron he'd given me for the time being. Now to gathering all our resources. So first, gather the iron that we need to start the iron farm itself. So we're off to the mines to search through our cave to see what iron we can find. I found a little doggy while on our travels back and forth. So we have a new little friend for back home. Now with that, we finally have enough iron to make the remainder of the hoppers that we need for the iron farm. Now we need to find some lava, so off to the nether we go! And we've immediately spawned into a crimson forest, where all the lava that I can see is very far down. Returning to the overworld to start trying to make a plan on how I'm going to get nether, I got very confused being popped out somewhere different than the original portal I made. And going back through our original portal, we found ourselves in a different place in the nether. I don't know what I was thinking, but I started jumping down. I assume in an attempt to get the lava that was down there, but how on earth am I going to get myself back up? Well, my concern for getting back home is short-lived, as the piglins make sure I make a swift return home. After a little bit more exploration around the nether, I decide we're just going to use some campfires for the iron farm instead of the lava the tutorial tells us to use. Now that we have all of the resources we need for the iron farm, it's time to grab ourselves our zombie. So we build up a little box for him, and away we go to try and find one. After a whole night of attempting to lure a zombie to its box alive, I managed to capture a baby zombie in there. And it wasn't until after that he was already in there and safe, I looked up if baby zombies can grow up, because the baby zombie would indeed be able to get to the villagers. So I had to deal with him and wait for the next night. In the meantime, I filled up some of the holes the creepers created around the area. With night having fallen again, I found a zombie fairly early on, and it took a little bit of maneuvering, but we finally got him into the box. He shall now forth be known as Zombob. And now that we have our zombie all sorted, it's time to actually start building. I started by replacing some of the stone with glass, just as we can keep an eye on our zombie and keep better track of things after the iron farm is complete, to make sure everything's running smoothly later. Now on to the rest of the building. Once we'd completed the iron farm itself, I was just sitting around making sure it was functioning as it was supposed to be, when all of a sudden a swarm of zombies showed up. So we just started running to try and not die. Now that the sun is rising, I thought it was just simply going to be a let the zombies burn in the light. And then I get killed by a skeleton of all things. That is unfortunately all we have for today. The villagers that we did have sitting around to make a couple other iron farms that would have hopefully led to the same storage, turned into zombies themselves with that swarm, and have burned in the light too. So we'll need to figure out some other plan for that now. But otherwise, I hope you all have a good day, night, sleep, whatever it is you have going ahead for yous now. And I look forward to seeing you all again next time. Bye bye!